In Lake County, this man is accused of shooting down a Walmart delivery drone. Dennis Wynn told police he thought the drone was spying on him.
At some point today, did a drone fly over your house and you shoot at it? I'm gonna be real blunt with you and ask.
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, why'd you shoot at it?
Because I thought it was somebody and turned around playing games on my house.
Fear has a strange way of driving people to act in ways they might not otherwise imagine. But what would you do if a drone hovered ominously over your home, lowering a cord like it was on some clandestine mission? Would you freeze in uncertainty or take decisive action? For one 72-year-old man in Florida, the choice was clear. He didn't wait to question the drone's intent. He grabbed his 9mm pistol, took steady aim, and fired. One bullet, one clean hit. The drone crashed to the ground. At first, he felt a surge of victory, a sense of relief that he had defended his space. But the aftermath of his decision was far from triumphant. Law enforcement soon arrived at his doorstep, and what followed was a cascade of legal consequences. He was arrested, fined an astonishing $10,000, and charged with violating federal airspace regulations. But this raises a profound question. What made this drone so important that its destruction carried a penalty exceeding the value of the privacy of an entire neighborhood? It all started on what should have been an ordinary day. The man, a retiree, was outside working on his pool equipment, a routine task under the warm Florida sun. As he toiled, something unusual caught his eye. High in the sky, a drone buzzed into view. At first, he dismissed it as a passing curiosity. But then it didn't leave. It hovered, unmoving, directly over his home. Seconds turned into minutes, and the presence of the drone became increasingly sinister. Suddenly, something unexpected happened. A thin cord began to descend from the drone, dangling in the air like a lifeline or a threat. To the man, it seemed as though the drone was engaged in some kind of operation. He had no way of knowing whether it was benign or malicious, but the feeling of unease was overwhelming. This was no casual flyover. This was something deliberate. His frustration turned to alarm, and his alarm became resolve. He waved his arms in an attempt to shoo the drone away, shouting at it as though it might respond. But the drone did not budge. For a man who had always valued the sanctity of his home and privacy, this felt like a breaking point. He retreated indoors, opened his safe, and retrieved his pistol, a weapon he likely kept for self-defense, never imagining it might one day be used against a machine. With his weapon in hand, he stepped back outside. His mind raced with questions. Was someone spying on him? Was this drone a prelude to a more invasive act? The buzzing of its propellers felt like a taunt. He took aim, steadied his hands, and pulled the trigger. The drone dropped like a stone, its ominous presence reduced to lifeless wreckage on the ground. For a brief moment, he felt vindicated. The threat, or at least what he perceived as a threat, had been neutralized. But that satisfaction was fleeting. Not long after, police officers arrived at his property. They questioned him directly, asking if he had shot down the drone. He didn't deny it. In his mind, he had done nothing wrong. He was defending his home and his peace of mind. The officers, however, saw it differently. They explained that his actions had legal ramifications far beyond what he might have anticipated. Shooting down a drone wasn't just an act of property damage. It was a federal offense. The man listened in disbelief as they detailed the charges. Destruction of private property, reckless endangerment, and violation of federal airspace regulations. Worse still, the drone was reportedly valued at $10,000, and he was expected to pay a hefty fine on top of that. So why would an elderly man take such a drastic step? To many, a drone might seem like a harmless piece of technology, a tool for recreation or photography, but to this man, it symbolized something far more troubling. It was an invasion, a mechanical intruder violating the sanctity of his home. In his eyes, this was not merely a machine. It was a harbinger of surveillance, a potential threat, a trespasser into his sanctuary. The fear and mistrust surrounding drones are not unfounded. In recent years, they have transcended their roles as recreational gadgets or professional tools. They've become symbols of intrusion, instruments of surveillance, and even potential weapons. News stories of drones being used for spying, theft, and other malicious purposes have only fueled these fears. For this Florida man, the sight of one hovering over his home, lowering a cord as though carrying out a covert operation, was too much to bear. This story is not just about a man and a drone. It's about the tension between privacy and technology, fear and control. It's about how fear, real or perceived, can push someone to act in ways that defy conventional logic. But it also raises deeper questions. Who truly owns the airspace above our homes? How do we balance the benefits of innovation with the right to feel secure in our private lives? And when does the use of technology cross the line from convenience to intrusion? The layers to this story extend far beyond a single drone or a single man. It's a tale of a world grappling with the complexities of progress and the human cost that sometimes accompanies it. This man did not live in isolation, unaffected by the world around him. Like millions of others, he was acutely aware of the increasing reports of mysterious drone sightings across the United States. Stories of drones hovering ominously over neighborhoods, schools, and even critical infrastructure have circulated for years, spreading unease. These incidents range from isolated observations to persistent encounters, fueling a growing national concern. In many cases, even authorities have openly admitted they have no idea where these drones are coming from, a rare concession that only amplifies public anxiety. Uncertainty is a fertile breeding ground for paranoia, and paranoia often gives rise to action. When this man was asked why he decided to shoot at the drone, his answer was as straightforward as it was revealing. He believed he was defending his home. To him, the drone was more than an airborne device. It was an immediate and tangible threat. For someone deeply committed to protecting his property, the decision to act was almost instinctive. In the days leading up to his actions, reports of mysterious drone sightings had left communities across the country feeling uneasy. Initially, these sightings seemed random, beginning in rural states like Colorado, Nebraska, and Kansas. Witnesses described drones flying in coordinated formations, often moving in grid patterns as though mapping the land. Then the phenomenon spread. In New Jersey, residents reported drones hovering above their homes during the night, their silent operation and prolonged presence unnerving even the most skeptical observers. Unlike hobbyist drones, these were not recreational in nature. They exhibited advanced capabilities, near-silent flight, extended operational times, and an apparent indifference to attempts to disrupt or shoo them away. Authorities, however, were quick to dismiss public concerns, asserting that these drones posed no real threat. Yet, their reassurances did little to calm fears. The lack of concrete answers only deepened the collective anxiety. For many, drones are not just technological marvels, but symbols of something far more invasive. They represent the creeping encroachment of surveillance into daily life. Some believe corporations are using them to gather data on consumer behavior. Others suspect government agencies of clandestine monitoring. Still, others point to the possibility of criminal enterprises employing drones for illicit purposes. The truth, however, remains elusive, and it is this uncertainty that stokes fear. This issue is not confined to the United States. In the United Kingdom, drone activity near airports has caused chaos, grounding flights and endangering air travel. In Canada, drones have been reported flying alarmingly close to aircraft. Across the globe, the drone problem is escalating, and the clamor for answers is growing louder. For the man in Florida, these stories were not just abstract headlines. They were fuel for his anxieties. Every report he heard or read about suspicious drone activity reinforced his fears. So when he saw one hovering over his property, it was not a harmless gadget in his eyes. It was a direct and immediate threat, a symbol of the very scenarios he had dreaded. Before we delve into the true purpose of the drone he shot down, let us consider the broader narrative and the explanations provided by government officials. Their responses have been as varied as they have been unconvincing. Officials assure the public there is nothing to fear, labeling the drones harmless and posing no risk to safety. But such reassurances ring hollow when these drones are flying in systematic patterns over military bases, government facilities, and other sensitive areas. Take Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, for example. He noted that recent regulatory changes now allow drones to operate during nighttime hours. While this might explain the increased sightings after dark, it fails to address why these drones seem to be on covert missions. They are not buzzing aimlessly. They are deliberate, organized, and undeniably unsettling. Representative Jim Himes from Connecticut added his voice to the discourse, suggesting that most sightings are likely misidentified stars, aircraft, or hobbyist drones. This explanation, however, falls flat when faced with reports of drones flying in coordinated formations, lowering mysterious chords, and lingering over private properties. Stars, after all, do not engage in such behaviors. Then there are the more speculative theories. Representative Jeff Van Drew proposed the possibility of an Iranian mothership operating off the Atlantic coast, while others have pointed fingers at China. The latter theory gained traction when a Chinese national was arrested for flying a drone over a Space Force base in California. Though officials described this as an isolated incident, the timing and context make it difficult to dismiss outright. And here lies the irony. The United States, a nation boasting unparalleled technological prowess and intelligence capabilities, appears powerless or unwilling to provide definitive answers about these drones. This silence invites suspicion. Are they truly ignorant of the source, or are they withholding information? Either scenario is deeply unsettling. The public's mistrust is not unfounded. History is rife with examples of government secrecy, from the infamous Roswell incident of 1947 to declassified Cold War-era experiments. The pattern is consistent: deny, deflect, and distract until the narrative fades from public attention. Against this backdrop of mystery and mistrust, let us return to the Florida man's story. When the truth about the drone he shot down emerged, it was surprising. Far from being a surveillance device or a tool of espionage, it turned out to be a Walmart delivery drone. These drones are part of Walmart's pilot program to revolutionize package delivery, promising faster and more efficient service. Equipped with state-of-the-art sensors, navigation cameras, and mechanisms for lowering packages, they are designed to blend seamlessly into modern logistics. However, in this case, the drone's innocuous purpose did not align with the man's perception of it as a threat. His reaction, although undeniably extreme, was driven by a profound and deeply rooted fear, an emotion that resonates with many individuals who share similar apprehensions. This fear, while understandable in its essence, brings to light significant legal and ethical dilemmas that cannot be ignored. It is a stark reminder of the emotional and psychological complexities that often accompany the rapid adoption of advanced technologies in society. The aftermath of his actions highlights the multifaceted challenges posed by integrating emerging technologies like drones into the fabric of everyday life. While his response may have been disproportionate, it underscores the very real tensions between personal security, societal norms, and the evolving regulatory landscape. This incident serves as a poignant illustration of the intricate balancing act required to harmonize technological innovation with public trust and accountability. As drones become increasingly ubiquitous, the challenges they introduce are poised to grow exponentially. These challenges extend far beyond technical hurdles, delving into areas such as the erosion of personal privacy, potential misuse, gaps in existing regulatory frameworks, and the ethical implications of their use. Each of these concerns demands thoughtful and proactive solutions to mitigate risks while fostering the potential benefits drones can offer. This specific event, though it may appear to be an isolated incident, serves as a condensed representation of the much larger and ongoing debates surrounding the development, deployment, and regulation of drone technology. It highlights a spectrum of critical issues, including the societal challenges of embracing innovative advancements while addressing the deeply rooted concerns and apprehensions associated with their use. At its core, this situation prompts vital questions about the delicate balancing act required to integrate groundbreaking technologies into everyday life. How can society harness the immense potential and promise of drone technology while simultaneously mitigating risks, protecting individual freedoms, and ensuring public safety? To navigate this complex terrain, there is a pressing need for the creation of robust, comprehensive, and transparent regulatory frameworks. These guidelines must not only address the ethical, legal, and privacy implications of drone usage, but also inspire public trust and confidence. Striking this balance between fostering technological progress and safeguarding public welfare is a formidable challenge, one that demands immediate, thoughtful, and meticulous attention from policymakers, technologists, and society as a whole. At present, while one enigmatic aspect of drones has been clarified, an extensive array of unresolved questions lingers, casting a long shadow over the topic. These unanswered queries ensure that drones will remain a profound subject of intrigue and debate. They evoke a complex mix of curiosity and apprehension, challenging us to explore the ethical, technological, and societal dimensions of their existence. The persistent mysteries surrounding drones continually expand the horizons of our imagination, compelling us to grapple with their implications and inspiring ever deeper contemplation about their evolving role in our modern world.